They argued over dinner. But the ending will surprise you because what happened with Claire and Jordan Miller, a married couple living in Portland, Oregon, is something every relationship faces at least once. Yet almost no one talks about it. And if you're watching this right now, don't scroll. What you're about to hear might save someone's relationship. Started on a rainy Tuesday evening. The kind of grey Pacific Northwest weather that already makes the whole day feel heavier. Claire had just come home from her shift at the design studio, exhausted from presenting a high-pressure pitch to a constantly changing client. All she wanted was a peaceful dinner with her husband and maybe a little appreciation. Jordan, on the other hand, had spent the entire day dealing with crisis after crisis at the automotive shop he ran. Delayed orders, upset customers, and a new employee quitting mid-shift had drained him completely. By the time he got home, he was too mentally exhausted to read emotional cues. Claire cooked lemon garlic chicken with roasted vegetables, Jordan's favorite dish. She hoped it would brighten the mood and added candles, even though she knew he might not notice. She just wanted the evening to feel meaningful. But the moment Jordan walked into the dining room, he didn't compliment the food or even smell it. He didn't sit fully before asking, "Did you remember to schedule the car appointment?" And something small snapped inside Claire. It wasn't the question itself, but the feeling of being invisible again. She quietly said, "Can we eat first?" And Jordan let out a long, frustrated sigh that changed the whole atmosphere instantly. They started eating in silence, the kind that feels like a third person sitting at the table. Claire tried to lighten the mood and asked, "How was your day?" Jordan shrugged while scrolling his phone and said, "Same crap, different day." She tried again. "Anything you want to talk about?" But he muttered, "Not really," without looking up. That was the spark that lit everything. Claire said, "I spent an hour cooking this, and you're glued to your phone." Jordan snapped back, "I'm checking something important." "Why do you always assume the worst?" The tone shifted sharply. Claire's voice cracked as she said, "Because lately you don't see me." Jordan's frustration boiled over, and he replied, "Maybe because everything becomes a fight with you lately." Their voices rose and tension filled the room. They threw old issues on the table, late replies, forgotten chores, and expectations never met. Jordan accused her of nagging. Claire accused him of shutting down emotionally. He slammed his fork down and pushed back from the table. She pushed her chair too, hurt written all over her face, said, "I can't do this right now," and she answered, "You never can." That line hit him harder than she expected. Jordan grabbed his keys and walked out without another word. Claire stood frozen, heart pounding, replaying everything in her head. She sent him one message saying, "Come back so we can talk," but hours passed without a reply. Rain tapped harder against the windows as she wondered if he was even coming back. Meanwhile, Jordan drove aimlessly through Portland with the windshield wipers, rhythmically swiping away the storm. He parked near the Willamette River, staring into the dark water. He thought about how badly he handled everything. He didn't leave because he didn't care. He left because he didn't know how to express his feelings. Everything at work made him feel like he was failing. And the fear of failing Claire hit him suddenly and painfully. If you're still listening, remember this. Sometimes the biggest fights come from the softest wounds. Jordan finally drove back home near midnight, drenched from the rain. Rehearsed the apology he was terrible at giving but knew he had to say. When he entered the house, he found Claire sitting on the living room floor wrapped in a blanket. Her eyes were red from crying, but she didn't yell. She simply whispered, "Where did we go wrong?" Her question broke something inside him. Jordan sat beside her, water dripping from his clothes onto the carpet, said, "I'm sorry. Not just for tonight, for everything I haven't said." For the first time in a long time, Jordan opened up about the pressure at work. He admitted he felt like he was failing everywhere and emotionally shutting down. Claire listened quietly, truly listening. Then she finally shared her side, saying she felt overlooked and unappreciated. She told him she wasn't angry, she was hurt. She admitted she felt lonely even while living under the same roof. They realized they weren't fighting each other. They were fighting misunderstandings and unspoken feelings. That realization changed everything. Claire whispered, "I miss us." Jordan pulled her close and said, "I do too. I've been here, but I haven't been here. They hugged for a long time, an embrace full of apologies and fear and love. Jordan said, "You're not the enemy. I'm sorry I made you feel that way." Claire whispered, "I never wanted a perfect husband. I just wanted to feel connected." The softness between them slowly returned. He promised to put his phone away during dinner. She promised to communicate her needs before resentment built. They both laughed when Jordan said, "We're really bad at communicating for two people who love each other so much." Claire smiled back and said, "Then let's get better together." Their hearts felt lighter than they had in months. They ended the night eating reheated dinner at 1 a.m. They sat close, shared inside jokes, and felt connected again. Their fight, as painful as it was, forced them to face what they had been avoiding. And in the end, it saved their relationship. If you're still watching, hit like, share and subscribe. So many couples need to hear that sometimes, the fight isn't the end it s, the beginning of understanding. Love doesn't fall apart over one argument. It falls apart when two people stop trying. But Claire and Jordan didn't stop. They chose each other again, even when it was hard. And that's what real love looks like. If you enjoyed this emotional, suspense-filled couple story, comment more stories so you never miss the next one.